Alright, in this video I want to talk about how muscles actually start to contract. This picture is a picture of what we call a neuromuscular junction, and there's a couple of highlights. The first thing is the neuron within itself. Well, what is a neuron? A neuron is simply a name for a nerve cell. There's a lot of different types of nerve cells that are present inside the human body. What's important is that the nerve cell that makes skeletal muscle move, which is like voluntary muscle for the most part, those type of neurons are known as motor neurons. And these motor neurons, they produce a particular neurotransmitter. And the name of this neurotransmitter is known as acetylcholine. So, this is the beginning of this story. This picture shows a picture of what we call where a muscle cell is in connection with a motor neuron. This is known as a neuromuscular junction. Another word for this is known as a synapse. We say that all neurons have synapses with other cells. In this particular case, it's a muscle cell. How does the story start? Well, an action potential moves down, and that's what these blue arrows right here indicate, moves down the neuron. Once it gets to the end of the neuron, calcium channels open up. The influx of calcium into this area, the terminal, of the neuron, this is the end of the neuron, causes these vessels right here that I'm highlighting to start moving downward. Once they do that, they release this red stuff that you can see. Well, these vesicles are known as neurotransmitter vesicles, and the red dots that we see in this particular case is our good friend acetylcholine that I just spoke to you about earlier. It's a neurotransmitter. The way that nerves work is that they do not directly touch a cell that they influence. Instead, there's a space in between them. This space is known as the synaptic cleft. And the synaptic cleft is where the neurotransmitter diffuses from one side, the nerve, to the other side, the muscle cell. The picture at the bottom that you see here, that's this right here, this pink stuff. This is the sarcolemma of the muscle cell. Remember, sarcolemma is simply the cell membrane of the muscle cell. So the cell membrane has these receptors, and these receptors take or can sense acetylcholine, which is released from that motor neuron, and as a result, something happens. Well, what happens here is that sodium is pumped in, and there's a polarization that takes place inside the membrane of the muscle cell. This influx causes a chain reaction to take place that you cannot see on this picture, but just trust me, it takes place. And that influx that takes place leads with the release of calcium for the sarcoplasmic reticulum. And I want to talk about that inside of another video. So here's what you need to get from this video. You should get a couple things. Neurons that make muscles move are known as motor neurons. These motor neurons have a stimulus that goes through them known as an action potential. The action potential causes calcium to be released, which therefore causes the vesicles that contain the neurotransmitter acetylcholine to be released into the synaptic cleft. The neurotransmitter acetylcholine diffuses across the synaptic cleft to its receptor. Once it connects to this receptor, it causes a sodium influx in the membrane of the muscle cell, also known as the sarcolemma. And in turn, this, in a larger, more complex process, causes calcium to be released by the sarcoplasmic reticulum, or the SR, inside the muscle cell. The other thing that you need to know is that this is known as a synapse or a neuromuscular junction. Thank you.